Hi, welcome to Julie's Yard and Garden. Today we're going to be talking about warm season crops. The best time to plant your warm season crops is when all chance of frost is completely gone. You'll have to look and see what time that is in your area. In my area, it's around mid-May. By that time, you can pretty much put anything in the ground that you want to. And it doesn't matter if you start it from seed or if you purchase it. Things like beans, watermelon, cantaloupe, corn, all those things can be direct sown into your soil. If you purchase plants from a nursery or a store, certain vegetables and plants are going to go through a little bit of transplant shock. So after you put them in the ground, they will have a couple of weeks where they look like they're maybe not quite doing anything and they don't look like they're growing at all. Just let the plant do its thing and kind of get used to where it's at, its new home is, and they should be fine. The best thing to do would be to direct sow your seeds into the ground if you have the seeds, but there's certain things like tomatoes that have no problem being transplanted. I noticed that when I transplanted a zucchini that I had started, that one definitely took a couple of weeks to get reestablished and look like it had actually started to grow. Some of your warm season crops include corn, beans, tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, all varieties of squash, peppers, carrots, potatoes, peas. Basil is also one of those things that you definitely need to wait until your warm season comes about before you can get that planted. Summer crops also include lots of different kinds of fruits. Cantaloupes, watermelon, honeydew melon, all of your melon varieties, lots of your berries, strawberries, raspberries. One thing about warm season crops is that you usually, depending on where you are, can only get one planting. If you're living in the southern part of the United States where the summers are extremely hot and your winters are more mild, you might be able to get two plantings of your warm season crops. So it just kind of depends on where you're at, but that might be a bonus of living in some place just a little bit warmer than where I do. One of the things that I would encourage you to do if you're just starting out with gardening is to find the vegetables that you like to eat and try to grow those first. If you love tomatoes, start with a tomato plant. If you love carrots, learn how to grow carrots. Another thing to think about with warm season crops is that some of them, when you plant them, you won't be harvesting them until the fall, say like with pumpkins or corn, and you harvest them as the temperatures start to get cooler. There are other crops that you may plant, like beans and peas, that you can be harvesting all throughout the growing season. And with those crops, the more you harvest, the more the plant will actually start to produce. The reason for that is because what the plant is doing is it's growing the fruit or the vegetable in order to reseed itself so that it can continue to grow in the future. And if you take the thing off that has the seed, so the bean or the pea, if you pull that off of the plant, then the plant's going to say, oh hey, I have to produce more of those because now I'm not going to be able to reproduce myself if I don't have more. And I'm just using beans and peas as an example. Another thing that will do that is zucchini. If you have a zucchini plant back in the corner of something and you miss a zucchini, you're not going to be producing quite as many because the plant is going to be putting all of its energy into that one single zucchini. So you'll end up with a gargantuan zucchini and not a whole lot of others. So if you want a lot of zucchinis, let them grow to the size that you prefer and then go ahead and pull them off. But if you leave just one on there, you're not going to get as many zucchini as you had hoped. So the more you harvest from your warm season plants as they start to produce fruits and vegetables, the more produce you will end up with in the end. I hope you've learned something about warm season crops today. Until next time, grow something you love and just have fun with it.